this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to heal past timelines using quantum healing. This is something that can totally change your life, really allow you to let go of past experiences and then be who you prefer to be. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to heal past timelines and understanding that the only moment that really does exist is this moment right now. So in a way, what we've been doing unconsciously, because we believe so much in linear time-space, we believe that things happen and that's the past when it happened before, and then things are happening now and then things will happen. That's only from one perspective. In truth, time doesn't exist the way that we think it does. It's much more flexible. And what is initially happening is we are shifting through different parallel realities and different versions of ourselves we are embodied. Now, this is what happens though. When we go through certain experiences as we are growing up, what we do is we go through different things and then we have an emotional charge. We have a pattern that we set in the present moment. And based on that pattern, based on the meaning that we give to whatever happened, that can end up being something that we carry with us through each individual timeline, therefore creating the same results over and over again. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is showing you how to more so tap into the present moment and let go of things that happened in the past through using an exercise that's going to help us connect to that version of us which exists right now, and then we can let it go and then embody the way that we prefer to be. So this is something that I think can be an absolute game changer, and this can be applied towards anything. When we understand manifestation, how we create what we want in our life, if we believe and we really give so much emphasis to that of time, to that of being a past, a present, and a future, what we end up doing is we end up making things a lot more stretched out. We make things complicated because then we develop a story about how everything happens versus just letting go and allowing ourselves to be present to the moment. That's when we can really start to let go and really embody a new version of ourselves. But if we're not aware of the patterns that are already running us, then that will continue to run us over and over again. So what is the basis for what I'm speaking about? It has to do with connecting to a moment in time when you experienced something that you didn't want to experience, or a moment in time when you decided and you said, this is who I am, this is how I have to be. So maybe it was a past experience where somebody said something to you. Maybe you were young, maybe you remember it when you were like maybe even 10 or 11 years old, and somebody said something to you and you really started to solidify it in your mind. So yes, that is who I am. Maybe you were in school and you were taking a test, you got a D on a test, and then friends were making fun of you or something, telling you that you were dumb. And then you start to say, you know what, maybe I am dumb. Maybe that is who I am. Or maybe you felt embarrassed because you didn't do well on a test and you had to bring that home to your parents. Maybe it was that the first girl or guy that you ever, liked, somehow they said something to you that made you internalize something that then you carry around with every single relationship that you've been in, and maybe even unconsciously. So there's all these different things that could have happened. And a lot of times it's stuff that happens between when we're in the age of about 6 to 12. Now the reason that is because in that time period is when we're transitioning from a theta brainwave state, because we're mainly in a theta state when we're born up until about the age of 6, and then we transition into more of an alpha state. So in that period, a lot of the beliefs are actually also wired in when we were even younger than that, but that's a big transition where a lot of people have had experiences that then leak into the rest of their life experience without even knowing it. So the power of quantum healing technique is understanding that in the moment right now, that version of you still exists. It still exists right now. And even though that seems something that's improbable or something that's like, how do I connect to that? When you understand and you start to accept that time is an illusion, that the only moment that does exist right now is now, then you can connect to it in a better level. Now, this is the exercise, and this is what you want to do. You want to become aware of the memory. You want to become aware of the belief that you have about yourself that you want to let go of. You want to be aware of the reference experience that you have from back in the day that is showing you what you can become more aware of right now. So become aware of it by asking yourself the question, what would I have to believe is true to be having this kind of experience? And what you do is you ask that question and you see what comes up. And then you say, what memories do I have when this was solidified or this was formed? And you wait. And sometimes it may take a day or two for you to remember that memory. Sometimes it'll give it to you in your dream state. But the idea is to set the intention and then to wait for the answer in a state of presence. Presence simply means inside of your body. So the key is to set the intention and then to wait for the answer. And whatever answer comes up, you will then realize, okay, this is when something happened in my life. This is when I decided that this is who I was and I had to become something in order to shield myself from it. And what you do then is you imagine yourself right now having that conversation with that version of you. So what you would do is say it was something that happened when you were 7 or 8 years old. What you do is you do a visualization exercise where you lay on the floor or meditate in a sitting lotus position, and you breathe in, breathe out, you get yourself to a very calm space, and what you do is you imagine the environment of that version of you. So I might imagine myself at a certain age, at a certain location with certain objects around me. Maybe if it was something when I was younger, it was me reading Harry Potter books, having Pokemon cards. And I imagine that environment of those things around, and then in a way that starts to bring back more memories of that version of me. And then what I do as a visualization exercise is I invite that version of me to be sitting in front of me. And I feel very I comfort that version of me. I speak to that version of me in the way that I would speak to someone that age. So if it's someone that's 7 years old, you don't talk to a 7-year-old like with complex ideas. You more so just say, hey, come on buddy, come over here. Come sit down with me. I want to talk to you for a minute. And then I would have a conversation with myself. I'm like, hey, you know this one time when this person said this to you? And you remember you felt really, mad about it, and you didn't understand why they were doing that or saying that? Well, remember when you said that, or this is what was really happening. You can let it go. That's not really you, that's them. Or whatever the situation is, you can address it in that way. But you do it with the objects around, with the environment, with the vibe. Because in a way, that version of you hasn't healed yet. So when you get to the place to where you can talk to that version of you in a certain way, what you do is you start to then heal that timeline. And this is what you then do after that. You heal the timeline by imagining, you become aware of what it is, and then you talk to that version of you. And then afterwards what you do is you imagine a different scenario of how it could have played out that would have been even better. So for example, if it was a family member telling you not approving of something you did, or calling you a name or something, instead what you would do is you become aware of it. You do that exercise I talked about where we talk to that version of ourselves at that age, and we comfort them. We make them feel comfortable. And then we ask them as well if they have any message for us. And then what we do is we simply focus on how we can wire in that new memory. Imagine it in the best case scenario. So maybe instead of the parent saying something or the whatever it was, you imagine it happening in a better way. You imagine them saying, you know what? Instead of if they talk down to you, you imagine them encouraging you. And this is what you then do, and this can be the game changer. You wire that in through visualization, feel as if you were there. Close your eyes and feel now as that version of you, and feel as if you were there, and imagine the things happening in that new way. If you imagine it 3 to 4 times, you start to wire in that new memory. And then what you do is you feel as if that is you using visualization. And what you do after that is you simply set the intention that every time in the now moment that you remember that past memory, you switch it to the new memory. So you've now healed that version of you, and then you solidified in and changed your timeline. Now this sounds like an esoteric idea, but literally what happens every time we are in the present moment and we remember a memory, we take it out of the memory bank, we look at it, and we change it a little bit, and then put it back in the memory bank. So sometimes things that we remembered, that maybe we've thought about thousands of times, are totally different memories than what we've put into it before, or what actually happened. That's what neuroscience shows, and that's what happens because we overlay it with our beliefs and our opinions. So in the same way, what we can do is literally disconnect from those timelines by healing it and then wiring in a new one. And guess what? Because you can then be who you prefer to be in the present moment, you can let go of those past and prior timelines. You then start to change in the present moment, you change your past. And a way that you really start to wire that in is by knowing this one idea, and this is an idea that I've shared before, but it can really change your life. You are not the result of your past. You are not the result of past reference experiences. That is not who you are. You are who you choose to be in the present moment right now. Because as you change your state of being, as you change certain characteristics about who you are also changing the past in every moment. But we have a story in our mind that says that this is who I am, so we keep reconnecting to the old past, therefore connecting and creating similar results over and over again. The key is to become present to the moment, to stop telling ourselves the story, and then to be who we prefer to be. That's something that can change everything. And this technique that I shared can be a game changer. Letting go of past trauma, letting go of things people said to you or beliefs. Heal that version of you that exists in the timeline, because every time you remember that memory, even subconsciously, so say like you go up to somebody and you start to talk to somebody, say it's a relationship and when you were younger you felt rejected. Every time you walk up to someone now that you're attracted to, that rejection memory may be slow, like going through the subconscious mind, because it's a part of your timeline. And you may not even be aware of it, but then what you do is you do this exercise, you realize that there was a time somebody rejected you or where you got in trouble for speaking out, even if it wasn't a romantic type thing, but then you put yourself out there and you got pain for it. You can start to heal that timeline, and then when you do it, you come at it from a fresh state. So if you want also to understand how to really create from a whole new paradigm and really to heal yourself, it has to do with your vibration. And when you raise your vibrational set point, you will naturally start to heal your body. So what I did is I created a free guided meditation that will help you to raise your vibrational set point, so that if you feel like on a majority of the time, maybe you're at a 2 or 3 or 4 out of 10, this will help you raise it to a 7 or an 8 out of 10. That's what happened to me. And that's why I made this meditation, because it will help you to get through those realizations, to also become more present to the moment, to exist in that higher vibration. So if that's something you're interested in, you can download it in the top of the description box below. And remember that this whole process of quantum healing is about knowing that we are not the result of our past, we are who we choose to be in the present moment, but that what we can do is heal past timelines by talking to that version of ourselves, by becoming aware of it, by understanding, by asking for any message, and then deciding to let that past go, and then to wire in the new memory, which then wires in the new past timeline, which then will change the momentum and will allow us to really be who we prefer to be. So another thing I'll be doing is I'll also be on Instagram doing live Q&As. If you want to have more interaction with me, if you want me to answer your questions, go ahead and follow me on Instagram. I'll go ahead and link it right over here or right over here. And other than that, as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you guys liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that little notification gear so that you can see the daily vids that I do, the way YouTube does things now. So you actually have to hit that button in order to see my daily vids. And other than that, as always, peace, much love.